like if you found the video valuable. The silence of deep space was deceptive. Commander Alara Miles adjusted the scope on her helmet as she stood in the observation chamber of the research vessel Oberon, orbiting the uncharted moon X-23 of the gas giant Thalos. Her breath echoed within the confines of her suit, each exhale a reminder of how far she was from Earth, and how alone. The mission was simple, at least on paper. Survey the moon, collect data, return. But nothing about the Oberon's orbit around X-23 had been simple. Every 91 minutes, the ship passed through a strange, low-gravity zone that affected the electronics. The AI glitched, lights dimmed, sensors went blind, and sometimes, just sometimes, they heard whispers. Not in the comms, in their minds. The first to mention it had been Dr. Kale, the ship's linguist. "It sounds like children, or a choir," he'd said on day 3, visibly shaken. Not Earth languages, alien, but structured. Alara had laughed it off, attributing it to stress. But by day 6, she'd heard them too. Not words, melodies, dark lullabies that tugged at memory. They sent a drone to the moon's surface. It malfunctioned and returned spinning slowly, cameras melted. The data module, however, showed strange geometric patterns etched into the ice, like circuitry built by forgotten hands. What made those? Alara had asked, staring at the feed with narrowed eyes. "No idea," Kale had replied. "But they match something." He tapped a console and brought up a buried file from Earth's pre-digital era. Crop circles recorded in Wiltshire in 1980. Perfect match. By day 9, the dreams started. Crew members woke drenched in sweat, speaking in tongues. One engineer, Ramirez, tried to open the airlock mid-cycle. "They're calling," he cried, before being sedated. Alara began hearing them even when awake. "Come down," they whispered. "Remember us." It wasn't just noise anymore. It was intention. Despite the signs, protocol demanded they investigate further. Alara, Kale, and a robotics specialist named Vela suited up and descended to the moon's surface in a shuttle. The air was unbreathable, the terrain metallic, not just ice, metal beneath. "We're standing on a construct," Vela muttered. "This isn't a moon. It's artificial." They followed the signal, the source of the whispers, to a chasm near the southern pole. Inside was a shaft descending into darkness. They entered. The descent felt like hours. No signs of life, just polished corridors, unlit, humming slightly. Lights flared on as they passed, as if the structure acknowledged them. Then they reached the chamber. It was circular, filled with translucent spheres suspended in magnetic fields. Each contained a humanoid figure, not alien, but human. Perfectly preserved. One wore a 1950s flight suit. Another, Roman centurion armor. And another, was Kale. Exactly him. Frozen in time. "No way," he breathed. "This is impossible." Alara stared at him, her pulse racing. "What is this place?" Kale's duplicate opened its eyes. And whispered, "Welcome back." The chamber erupted with sound, not loud, but vast. A hum that vibrated the bones. Alara grabbed her helmet. "We're leaving, now." But Kale stood frozen. He murmured. "Versions, echoes, timelines we've abandoned. This place preserves them." "Kale," Alara shouted, grabbing his arm. But it was too late. A sphere enveloped him, and he was gone. Alara and Vela fled. Back in orbit, they found only silence. The ship's systems were blank. The Oberon was cold. Life support barely held. The crew was gone, except for one final message on the main screen. "You have been remembered." Alara initiated emergency return protocols. But as the engines engaged, she saw her own face reflected in the console, and it blinked. Not her reflection, her echo.